Well, hello there, meatbags. This is Warmage Ragnar, and we're doing something a little bit different tonight. Yeah, we're doing a visual novel in the Vampire the Masquerade universe this time. I'm sorry, but I'm not finishing the Bloodlines, the Final Nights Bali Let's Play, because even though I have all that recorded, that is in my old computer, and I don't care enough about that Let's Play to go rescue those files and try to edit it together and put it up, because I don't think it was even fun to watch. It's not gonna be fun to work on, and I don't have enough patience to do anything about that mod anymore. I even tried to start a new Let's Play with that same mod, but using a different clan. I tried a Setite run, and just as a rehearsal to see how far I could go if I could do it a little bit better with a better clan, with better disciplines. But no, nothing changes the fact that that mod is horrible. No game design sense. If you want my thoughts on that, you can just check my Twitter. So, I'm just going to Shadows of New York now, which is a sequel to Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of New York, which I have no fond feelings about. Coteries, I mean. Yeah, I get it, that visual novel is supposed to be essentially baby's first Vampire the Masquerade thing. It's supposed to be very introductory and stuff, but I don't know. The whole thing is just so convoluted in plot sense. The protagonist, even though you can choose between 3 clans, it just ensures that your character is a blank slate. So, aside from the prologue of the story before you get embraced and one little tidbit in the middle of the story that's specific to the clan, everything else remains the same. You're the same kind of person. You're just the new guy that gets beleaguered by absolutely everyone, and the ending just boils my piss. And I'll get into that. And this is a good time to warn you guys that this is gonna be full of spoilers for Coteries of New York, so if you want to play it, or if you want to watch someone else play it, stop here, go do that, and come back later. But yeah, we'll get into that. Shadows of New York improved a lot of the things that I hated about Coteries. They got rid of the hunger system that was just a nuisance. The whole hunger thing is just implied. It's implied in the roleplay. You get feeding opportunities, but it is not something that's going to interfere with your dialogue options. And disciplines are not gonna get you into a hunger craze as well. It's just a lot more focused on letting you enjoy the story instead of kinda doing a vampiric survival simulator, which, as anyone who has played a survival simulator can attest, is just a babysitting simulator at the end of the day. The story is much better since you don't get to pick different clans. It's just one character that has a lot more nuance. It gets a lot more opportunity to be fleshed out over the course of the story. You can change a few things about the protagonist over the course of the story. I'll get into that. I think I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but I think this will be quite an enjoyable experience. Obviously, I played this before, but it's good to revisit so I can share this with you guys and share a few of my takes while we do it. Welcome to my castle. Don't expect everyday logic to work here. It went out of the window sometime after midnight, maybe earlier. My kingdom is not of this world, you see. It lies far outside of concrete, tangible reality. I've tried to identify the way people reach it, and I'm convinced it has something to do with the moon. Some say the moon's aura can turn them insane. You've heard the phrases, moonstruck and lunatic. The way I see it, moonlight gives them some subliminal permission to reveal their true selves. And so, Whenever they let the silver radiance guide them to the gates of this place, they feel different. Once they pass the doorstep, they're ready to act out. A dance of horrors and marvels begins. It's 3:31 a.m. Welcome to Big Beat Burger. If you're here at this hour, you're not exactly readying up to be a productive member of society come tomorrow morning. More likely, you're praying that the sunrise never comes. Insatiable children of the night gather around, hoping to bask in the afterglow of tonight's victories, unwind after a frustrating series of failures, or simply fight to keep themselves together. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting here, greedily reveling in every interaction they have. They have no idea they are only here for my amusement. To them, I'm just a random girl sitting in the corner. But this is my domain. I've been coming here almost every night for years. I know where to sit, where to look, and where to eavesdrop for maximum amusement. I'm basically a voyeur, and unashamed to admit it. It gave me insight about the human condition I'd never otherwise have gathered, and, more importantly, a necessary skill set to make ends meet as a journalist. As I write on my crappy old laptop, patiently waiting for the legion of negative voices in my head to get too tired to offer useless feedback, I keep my senses peeled to pick up stories around me. Of course, a lot of regular events, such as food fights, are nothing to write home about, aside from my unfortunate tendency to become collateral damage in someone else's battles. Up to this day, I've had to wash my clothes because of Coke, Diet Coke, hot coffee, apple pie, and some sort of, improvised honey mustard bomb. Every stain tells a different story. Sometimes this hobby is exhausting, sometimes it's disturbing. Sometimes it's dangerous, although not as risky as back when I wasn't carrying pepper spray. Still, the sights I've taken in over the years here have made it absolutely worth it. I've got so many stories I don't know where to begin. Theatrical breakups, impromptu morning parties, unexpected friendships forged in the fires of senseless battle. A lady in gorgeous Givenchy dress, ordering a box of takeout chicken nuggets, paid in cash with her hands completely covered in blood. She was asked if she wants a napkin. She said no. Two thirsty macho dudes shamelessly going for it in the corner, hushed moaning filling the lobby while everyone around valiantly fights to act as usual and maintain an illusion of normalcy. Huh. Sounds like my kind of place. A straight-up kung fu fight between a diminutive cashier and some drugged bodybuilder going through a psychotic episode, trying to break all the windows. The big guy left the joint fully convinced he KO'd himself while the service worker was just standing next to him. Seemed proud of his victory too. A middle-aged hag getting a heart attack after screaming her lungs out not to let Muslims near her food, just because she saw a white girl wearing a hairnet behind the counter. A masked couple robbing the restaurant of 30 hamburgers, forcing the employees to cook at gunpoint. Police later said they were art students reenacting some hipster book they read. This is life. This is humanity at its worst and best. This is the noise that serves as the foundation for my creativity. This is the soma that keeps me going. This is... As pathetic as it may sound, these days, this is the only place where I feel alive. Sometimes I think of myself as a leech, feeding on these people's stories, emotions, and personalities just because I'm not satisfied with mine. Anyone who has ever watched Fight Club can recognize those personality traits. That's basically the beginning of the narrated story. At times, I think of my psyche as some kind of shitty postmodern construct that is fundamentally incapable of honesty, but only yearns for something felt and truthful. Well, some self-awareness there. Does this even make any sense? I look at the screen of my laptop. 3:47 a.m. At this point, I'm almost somnambulic. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But nothing interesting has happened yet. Feels like all the customers are watching each other tonight, hoping for the others to provide a fun diversion. This is my turf, you parasitic douchebags. Next time, go find your own. Think it's time to call it a night. The coffee I always order so that they don't kick me out is undrinkable. Ugh. I reread the rough draft I've been working on for the last 6 hours. God damn, this is pure trash. I hold the backspace button until the Google Documents page is nothing but a calm white slate and let out a sound of deep relief. I think it's sort of comforting to know that even professional journalists use Google Documents, because who the hell is going to actually pay to use Microsoft Word at this point? Are they out of their minds? There's no pleasure more intoxicating for a frustrated writer than ragging on someone even worse than them. And what target is easier than the dumb bitch you used to be 10 minutes ago? You know, as mean as this outlook is, that might be a nice outlook to have for your past self when you create something you're not satisfied with. For me, at least. I check the time again. I need to go. I have an important meeting tomorrow at 10 a.m., and I have a hunch it's not going to go well. And it's not because I'm an irresponsible dumbass who's going to need a few cups of coffee simply to function on a basic level despite, 4 hours of sleep. It's because I always have a hunch things are not going the way they're supposed to. Click. Clack, click, click, clack. The loud clatter of keyboards assaults me from all sides, makes the splitting headache unbearable. Used to be I dreamed of nothing else but being a part of the New York Lodestar editorial team. It was the first magazine I started reading regularly, the first magazine I ever bought for myself. Now, simply hearing the word Lodestar is enough to ruin my mood, never mind seeing all these old farts phoning in more reactionary opinion columns and Wikipedia-level analysis of current events. Click, clack, click, click, clack. They used to destroy and rebuild my entire worldview every month. They shaped my thinking about politics, art, journalism. They even pointed me towards my favorite cigarette brand, for God's sake. Then some talented people started leaving for greener pastures. Some got too wrapped up in their own neuroses. Some became complacent. All of them committed the sin of allowing themselves to grow older. Fresh blood was deemed unnecessary, even though young freelancers kept being bled dry. These days, whenever someone from outside Lodestar talks about Lodestar, it's because of a few idealistic contributors willing to accept meager pay while putting in serious work. Dumbasses. Other than that, the magazine specialized in publishing pale echoes of provocative ideas I heard somewhere else a few years prior, wrapped in an aesthetic that hasn't been cutting edge for a decade. No wonder the readership is in free fall, but even though the ship is sinking, the old guard won't let it go down without a fight. As in, if anyone from the outside attempts to board the vessel in hopes of fixing its course or its holes, they will be swiftly taken care of. I should know. Been there, done that. As it stands, the only full-time staff member who doesn't make me regularly attempt to cringe my face off with this writing is Lodestar's editor-in-chief Brian Ng. I'm not sure if it's NG or a foreign surname. Ng. Sorry for my uncultured ass for knowing. The man sitting in front of me right now. Of course, he only has time for editorials these days. A drop in the sea of needs, managerial duties hit him hard. It's the second time he lets out a theatrical cough like this. He said his piece, now it's up for me to react, and I'm coming up blank. But what do you want me to say, Bryant? I'm pissed off. I can tell you, I've already made up my mind, but you still want to go through the motions just to make me feel listened to. Whatever, let's do this. The man is a sexual harasser, Brian. I feel stupid that I even have to say this out loud, but you're essentially covering up for a sexual harasser, Brian. No, I'm not. No, just face it. Let's say the Harvey Weinstein story appeared on your desk instead of reaching the New York Times. Don't you compare me to the Times. You know that's a low blow. You're asking for it, and you're not exactly in a position to talk about low blows here. You know that's not the core of the issue. You are avoiding the core of the issue. No, I believe I've pinpointed it in a precise way. If it were up to me, I'd greenlight the article here and now, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. But you're killing the article just because some rich shithead told you he doesn't like it. Get real. This is not about some millionaire jerk calling me to make an offer I can refuse. What is this about then? Because it looks awfully like... It's about my bosses telling me this outlet can afford the legal action we have already been threatened with. So, millionaire interference. Oh, for crying out loud, Julia. Don't make me treat you like a child. You know how this works. I publish your story, it's Theo versus Gawker all over again. A lawsuit here, a lawsuit there, until we're bled dry. I have a mortgage. I have 3 mouths waiting to be fed at home. I have an amazing team that doesn't deserve to be torn apart over some... Don't you think it's telling you mentioned your mortgage first? Silence. Just asking questions. I like Yulia. She asks the real questions. I know better than to get into these empty semantic arguments with you, Miss Sovinsky. You're good at them. The problem is, you're still not good enough. Meaning? You're too in love with weaving a good story and establishing a seductive narrative to let facts get in the way. You've got enough boring suits with no principles on board these days. They always give you facts because that's all they can do. I'm using facts as a way to approach some kind of truth. Except facts can blindside you, and Double Spiral has enough facts to water down your story to the point where it makes no sense to publish it. Their HR and PR are working overtime to deliver a convincing counter-narrative, and they're doing a great job. Won't mitigate the damage completely, but will put every little thing in question. Jesse Montgomery is a racist, a fraud, a sexual predator, and a downright satanic fuckhead. Yulia. Let me say it again. Jesse Montgomery is a racist, a fraud, a sexual predator, and a downright satanic fuckhead. Do you personally believe it or not? This is not... You've listened to the tapes. You've read the transcripts. You've seen the documents. You've got the files. I'm asking for your personal opinion. Do you believe it or not? Click, clack, click, clack, click. Of course I do, but that's besides the point. It's not. Look, how about I just say it out loud and save us both some time? We're not having this conversation because there's an actual conversation to be had. You set up this meeting knowing very damn well there is only one way it's going to end. You've got a mortgage and 3 mouths to feed. You'll prioritize the well-being of your direct surroundings over some nebulous concept of greater good. I get it. I really do. Yet for some reason, it seems like you're only prolonging this conversation and rationalizing your decision so that I forgive you? Officially exonerate you? I'm not the bad guy here, Yulia. So, what are you? What are you then, in your own words? A man who does what is necessary to protect his own. So I don't count as your own anymore. He mutters something under his breath, ending with a self-pitying chuckle. I don't know if you'd even want to work under a scumbag like me from now on. Oh, come on, don't turn this into a pity party. No, I'm absolutely a scumbag. And why is that? Because I'm firing you. My thoughts are scrambled. For a brief moment, the state of my bank account displays before my eyes with startling clarity. A howling void opens in my chest and starts traveling towards my stomach. No, don't panic yet, you idiot. Get more information, now. There must be a catch. Let me get this straight. Ever since we've met, I've been working on stories and pieces no one else in your office would touch with a 10-foot pole. Constantly interviewing total nobodies, always busy traveling to the middle of nowhere or regretting my last trip, repeatedly ordered to clean up someone else's mess. Yulia, all your long-winded spiels about how the disposable work is the most important work, and suddenly you only remember the disposable part? My feelings about the quality of your work remain the same as ever. It was vital. It kept the magazine going. I will always appreciate it. Then why would you threaten to fire me? I would never threaten you. It's a done deal. They've made their decision perfectly clear. They? What they? Who is this they? He glances left and right and then points upward for a short moment. When he speaks up again, it's in a hushed voice. You know, the big kahunas. Can't really question them, and they wanted your head on a silver plate. He's not looking me in the eye. You're not joking. I would never joke about stuff like this. It's real. Fucking hell, it's real. Damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, all to hell. All these years, all this grind, all my plans, and for what fucking asshole? You know I deserve better, and I always deserve better, and it always ends with me going down the drain back to the sewers. Fuck. No. Take a few deep breaths. Don't lose the plot now. Keep yourself together, you idiot. The moment you show weakness, they go for your throat. Get back in control. You can't do this. I wish I didn't have to, but it's a lost cause. No, I mean, it's impossible. Yulia, you can't fire someone who's never been hired in the first place. It takes him a few seconds to put on his "oh, I get it" face, let out a troubled gasp and start massaging his temples. Lodestar has been my biggest source of income for the past few years, that much is true, but technically, nobody has ever hired me here. It was all freelance jobs. A full-time position only served as a kind of dangling carrot, a promise of a decent pay grade, career perspectives, maybe even some kind of insurance to save my failing health. All that's missing is her saying that they offered to let her work for them for exposure. That would just complete the package of awful. And the recognition I would get for being part of the Lodestar team. There we go. I knew it was gonna get there. A position that everyone around me seems to respect, aside from me. Then, why did I want it so much? There will be time to mourn what could have been. For now, I should act like I don't care. You know what I mean. If I let you work, even under a fake name, it will be a guillotine for me. This is ridiculous. You know I'm going to start shopping this story around the second I leave this room, don't you? Of course I know. I told him. Any response? Let us worry about that. Well, that doesn't sound ominous at all. Click, clack, click, clack, click. I do wonder if I could get accustomed to one of these loud mechanical keyboards some people here love to use. Whenever I did my work in here, I was still expected to bring my own crappy laptop and sit closer to the lobby. Always on the outside, no matter how hard I tried to break in. A vibration in my back pocket feels like a bad omen. I decide to ignore it for now. I've been working on this fucking story for, I don't know, 16 months on and off. I know. You kept cheering me on. I know. We have even agreed on the pay and receive. I know. I'm 2 months behind on my rent. No, wait, 2.5. I catch him off guard. He is momentarily taken aback and then gives me an empathetic stare. Don't you look at me this way. You don't have the right. I didn't know. Well, now you do. Look, if there is anything I can do to help. If you can't tell your big kahunas to fuck off, I don't think there's a single thing. Yulia. I pull out a smoke and light it up. Gotta get back in control. Please don't do that. There's a smoke detector here. No worries. Nick turned it off a few weeks ago. Probably the most creative thing he's ever done in the past 5 years. Good old Nick, the perfect 21st century cinema reviewer, never has an original thought of his own, just relies on his purely algorithmic taste to stay likable. And the best thing is, it works. I can think about several so-called critics that could fit into this. Funny, I used to dream about his job. It was Brian who killed this dream, making me realize Nick won't be unseated anytime soon, and offered to teach me the ways of an investigative journalist instead. Wasn't a career I ever wanted to pursue, but to my dismay, I turned out to be surprisingly good at it. Until this Montgomery thing happened. It serves me right. Lesson learned, should have pursued my dreams instead. Stop it, Nicholas is a good friend, a respected critic, a member of my team. And put out that smoke. People tell me I let you step all over me. Why do I even let you act this way? Because you once told me honesty is most important in a mentor-student relationship, and that it works both ways, and because I thought we were friends. He bites his lip and stares sideways to avoid my eyes. At the end of the day, bosses aren't friends. Must have been a terrible mentor if I didn't even teach you that. Yeah, it could have been a bit better. There's too much shared history between us, so I'm reluctant to make this parting of ways too bitter. I might have failed you as a guide, but I will do what I can not to leave you stranded, okay? There are options. None of them are a remedy for all your troubles, but... wait a second. Another vibration in my pocket, another foreboding feeling. This time, I reluctantly take the smartphone out of my pocket. If it has to rain, why not let it pour? A new email. It's a lengthy one. And the sender? Speak of the devil. No. This can't be. Christ. I just got an email from Mila Lopez. She claims she's been laid off from Double Spiral. Same as, Mike Antonoff and Jared Rivera. What? What happened? I'll spare you all her insults, okay? The key thing is, it seems their HR knows all the confidential information about my journalistic investigation and used it to shut everyone's mouth. Hell, apparently Montgomery walked up to Lopez as she was emptying her desk and told her to thank me for being a, quote, dumb and careless cunt. Brian goes pale. I think he has a very good reason to. You fucking scumbag. You outed my sources? What? Of course not. What are you even saying? Oh, don't you dare play coy. It must have been either you or me, no one else, and you know the way I work. My investigation was basically untraceable, both on and offline. Basically carefully picked meeting spots, encryption upon encryption, every direct quote rewritten 5 times just in case, all sorts of red herrings scattered around. You know my shit. I know my shit, you know I do. And this timing, did you just pass a flash drive to your beloved Big Kahunas during a meeting as a sign of goodwill? Look, I get you're upset, but why don't we just talk this through? Calmly. Okay, let's take it step by fuck you. Fury takes the wheel, and I'm just here along for the ride. I can't do anything about it. In a deranged way, realizing you're just a passenger in your own body feels liberating. Let's just see it all unfold. Calmly, fuck you, Brian. Yulia? I've been paranoid for months and months, acting like everyone I didn't know was an assassin or a corporate spy. I know I haven't messed up. Not in a way that could implicate all of them. You goddamn... You thought you could get away with this? I haven't done anything improper. Don't push the blame on me. So what? You're claiming it's my fault? 'Cause you're never the guilty one? It's always the bosses, the economy, the obligations you have, and now me? You're being silly. Quit this martyr bullshit. Calm down or I'll have to. You immoral shithead. You motherfucking... Calm down, for God's sake. And so it goes. I yell out a ton of words I wanted to say for a long time, but held back. I fling a lot of insults I've been workshopping for years, hoping I'd never use them. I break a few things. At times, for a split second, I see pity in somebody's eyes. It's gonna haunt me for a long time, but in the heat of the moment, I don't care. These people, no. This company has nothing left to offer me, so at least let me have this catharsis. In the end, a security guard has to escort me out of the building, and that's the end of my journalistic career. I just feel like my world has crumbled into nothing. I mean, you have every right to. Like, Jesus. If I were you, I would have already broken down into a sobbing mess. I'd love to, but I'm on the subway. Far too proud to cry in public, even now. And? It's stupid, but I feel like someone out there keeps destroying everything I hold dear just to see my reaction. Like it was a prank show, or someone was waiting to record me crying. So, out of sheer spite, I'm doing my best not to cry. Fuck you, whoever and wherever you are. That's the most Yulia Savinsky thing I've ever heard. Spite is the greatest motivator, huh? Not feeling particularly motivated to do anything right now, to be honest. I just want to stay in my bed until my shithead landlord calls the cops to forcefully evict me. Not surprised. Shit, I know that whenever life decides to fuck you over, it's always one thing after another, but this is too much. How much is too much? Let's recap this last week of June 2019. Oh boy, just wait for 2020, you're gonna have a blast. I've been kicked out of my job. Well, not ever been hired, so let's just say my mentor broke every vague promise he ever made to me. A big thing I've been working on for a year and a half went down the toilet. It's all useless. My boss didn't protect my sources properly, and now they keep trying to reach me through every possible channel to threaten me or just yell at me. And they have every right to react like that. All of my side gigs were shut down. Nobody's replying to my emails. Someone's been dragging my name through the mud behind the scenes, and it worked. I still have no idea who's sending these shitty messages around. I've been asking, but Listen, don't worry about it. I'm not going to stand idly by and watch you get cancelled by some mean-spirited, delusional... I said, don't worry about it. I have 3 unread messages from my landlord. The message previews were stressful enough. A call came from Chicago. Apparently, Dad has bladder cancer. Mom is in hysterics. She'd go crazy if she heard about my situation, so I have to pretend everything is okay whenever she calls. And she calls every day, and she just won't hang up before she offloads all her burdens on me. Oof, mood. And I can't blame her, because we all had to learn to cope with Dad's psychopathic tendencies somehow. I was robbed. All my documents and what little money I had, gone. Don't even know when or where it happened, and it's driving me crazy because I'm always extremely wary of pickpockets. That's suspicious. Sounds like someone is using some disciplines. The list goes on. I don't want to sound paranoid, but it really feels like a concerted attack. Paranoid is good. Anyway, I know you always hand-wave this topic away, but just remember that if anything happens, my place is your place. You don't have to get through it alone. I do. I've been a trouble magnet, and as self-centered as I may be, I don't want it to affect you. I know. Listen, I have another call. Alright, just call me if anything happens, no matter how dumb it seems, okay? And swing by whenever you can. I will. Thank you. See you. I put my phone away, exhale, and blankly stare in front of me. Christ. I glance at my reflection in the window. Just look at this idiot. Whenever the situation requires me to dress formally, I still feel a bit like a child cosplaying as an adult. Again, big mood. Should have just followed the dress for the job you want advice and continued dressing up like a trust fund kid who keeps partying on Brooklyn rooftops for years without a care in the world. It's only after a while that I realize the car is empty. And naturally so. I start feeling uneasy, but someone enters my peripheral vision. Oh, that's not ominous at all. And that's the last thing I consciously register. The world dissolves. When I come to, I'm out of the subway, standing in a back alley I don't recognize. It's pretty dark, my eyes start adjusting, and I try to figure out what happened. There's a gun in my hand. A faint silhouette at my feet. It's not moving. Somebody stands in front of me, covered in shadows. I can't fully make out her face, but she's staring at me with visible intent. She speaks. Her voice is raspy and androgynous, her tone hateful and mocking. Aren't you a nasty one? What is going on? Who are you? Don't play coy. My mind goes blank. I look at the ground. There's a body, riddled with bullet holes. And I recognize who it is. Was. The corpse belonged to Mike Antonoff, one of the double spiral whistleblowers. My source. He was just threatening to get back at me a few hours ago. Before I can feel even the tiniest bit of compassion, I face a terrible realization. They will think I'm guilty. Oh God, am I guilty? How is this real? You have done something to me, haven't you? Back in the subway. That was you, wasn't it? A man is bleeding out at your feet, and you're turning this around on me somehow? I haven't done anything to him. Again, don't play coy. You knew him. He was mad at you. You started telling him sob stories about your situation. He wasn't having none of it. You got mad. Things escalated. He died. This isn't true. It's plausible, but doesn't make it true. Or does it? This is just a nightmare. It doesn't even make sense. It must be a dream. And if it isn't, the person in front of me must be responsible. There's a faint voice in my head screaming that it's her world, that I'm just living in it. What the fuck have you done to me? Nothing yet, but I'll do what I can to get you locked up for life. This is a murder on the first degree with special circumstances. Her detached voice and nonsensical tone only reassures me this can't be real. I refuse to believe it is. Before I even manage to think this through, I point the gun at her. If I did murder him, you wouldn't be acting like that. You wouldn't be standing in front of me. You'd be running away, calling the police, begging for help, yelling that I'm a psycho. Oh, you are a psycho, but I'm not a coward. I won't let you walk out of here alive. This doesn't make a single lick of sense. Tears well up in my eyes. Why you're doing this? Because sometimes one has to confront what they're really made of. There's no two ways about it. She's gotta be nuts. Slowly but surely, she starts walking towards me. Stop right there or I'll shoot. Go on. It's the only way you can get off the hook, isn't it? The only way you can survive. But you'll definitely prove you aren't the monster I claim you are. What the fuck is this tone? So controlling, inauthentic, patronizing. I'm serious. For your own sake, it better be. She keeps getting closer. Maybe I did kill Antonov. Maybe I don't deserve to live. Maybe it's less tiring not to live. Maybe I should just let her take care of me. Maybe I'll just wake up. Or maybe this insane reality needs to be rejected as violently as possible. Maybe a world that wants to destroy me deserves to be destroyed. She's right in front of me. It's now or never. Oh shit. Well, as if I was gonna pick anything different. I close my eyes and squeeze the trigger. A loud bang echoes through the alley. I'm afraid to look at what I've done. I've been to a shooting range once and felt absolutely horrified by pistols. Such a small thing, but it can easily puncture a hole in the fabric reality is made of. Never knew I'd be able to use it against another human being. The very thought makes me want to puke. You were a right choice after all. I'm so glad. You haven't allowed yourself to break, but you've crossed the line I needed you to cross. There's a silent flame in you that could become an inferno if left unchecked. I sure hope it will. She's still alive. Her voice is coming from behind me. She puts her hands around my waist and her cold mouth touches my neck. I can feel my shirt getting violently torn off. I don't understand, but I'm too dazed to protest. That was your final test. Congratulations. You have proven yourself worthy. I can feel something sharp sliding into my neck. It's not too painful, just startling. Think. A doctor pushing a needle into your vein without a proper warning. Then, it hits me. Pure bliss. The dopamine receptors I've considered completely fried until now suddenly recover and start bombarding me with pleasure I've never known before. I finally let the tears go. They come flooding. They've been waiting for years. It's such a relief. Is it raining? I feel like I'm in the middle of a deluge. At least. Washing away all of my fears, all of my sorrows, all of my anger, all of my pain, all of my ego. I become one with the world and the woman behind me. She's holding me tight, making me feel like the only important thing in the world. Everything else blurs. I feel something intense towards her. Something I've never felt before. Is this love? I hope it is. This is not you, hisses a familiar, cynical voice in the back of my head. But it's okay. I never felt particularly fond of me anyway. New York, you're perfect. Oh, please don't change a thing. He who laughs in the shadows always has the last laugh. Hallelujah, praise be. When everything is cliché, nothing is. Isn't that the ever-distant utopia I've been chasing all along? People on the other trains, I hope you're doing fine. God, shut up, just enjoy it. You finally understand. She's making love to me. She's giving birth to me. She's burying me. I'm pretty sure I've been dead for a while. I'm pretty sure I could stare at my own corpse in her hands from a distance for a moment somehow. And then, I'm alive again. She lifts her mouth from my neck. No, wait. I taste blood in my mouth. Was I drinking her blood too? I realize that whatever this was, it's over. And I have to bask in the afterglow while I still can. I also immediately understand that I'm going to chase this fleeting feeling for the rest of my existence. Finally, she lets out a whisper which concludes the ceremony. No matter what happens next, don't forget, you're a monster. But you are lucky enough to be born into a world of monsters, so don't you ever mourn that fact. Embrace it. May I just say, that was a brilliant way to write an embrace scene. I don't ever see that done. The only vampire thing I ever read that has such a descriptive and vivid a narration of the process of becoming a vampire was Interview with a Vampire by Anne Rice, which, as most of you might know, is one of the strongest inspirations for Vampire the Masquerade as a whole. So it only makes sense for it to be such a multi-layered experience. You're dying, but there's this very powerful bond with the person embracing you, even if it's one-sided. But wow. So, to compensate for my lack of commentary until now, because this is so introductory and so raw and emotional, I wanted to just let it play out on its own. But what happened here is that her sire, Alessandra, was systematically destroying her life. Everything about her career, her prospects for the future, the things she treasured the most. Because it is tradition for La Sombra to do that, to scout out potential candidates for the embrace. They destroy someone's life to see if they can resist breaking, if they can still persevere, if they can still remain ambitious and driven, which is what happened to Yulia. And the pivotal moment there was the choice to shoot her or not shoot her. That was the final test, as her sire said. If I didn't shoot her, she would just have considered us a lost cause and killed us right then and there. I tried that choice before just out of curiosity, and to unlock the final achievement of the game was the only one I didn't get. So yeah, the La Sombra are very ruthless. But it's a very interesting vision, because while the Ventru will choose their chowder because of their background, like if you are a corporate climber or old money or some bureaucrat, or if you already belong to a life that fits what you're supposed to become as a vampire, that's what drives their choice. But the La Sombra think all of those things surrounding you, your job, your lifestyle, it's meaningless. They want to strip all of that away so that what is at your core can manifest. They're not interested in what you already are as a professional, as a person. They're interested in what you can become after you're embraced. And that's a very interesting perspective and a very interesting juxtaposition with the Ventru, considering those two clans are at each other's throats all the time. And let's be real, the La Sombra are way cooler than the Ventru. Someone had to say it. Someone had to say it, and I'm not afraid to say it. Don't at me. So that's it for now. This probably running very long, so I hope you enjoyed this little introduction. On the next episode, we will go into how Yulia is doing as a vampire now, on the day after, shall we say. The night after, actually. Should be cool, should be interesting. Alright, thank you for bearing with me so long. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope I brought something new to your perspective. I hope my narration and, I don't know, voice work was decent. And have a nice night, and see you on the next video. Bye bye.